Well, let's continue our finite element formulation after discussing the shape functions. So again, we have displacement, right? Displacement field. We express in terms of the shape function and order displacement. How about the vertical displacement? The same format. The vertical displacement, delta U and delta V, use the same format, okay, the same shape functions. That's the finite element formulation. The key of the finite element is use the same. And then this is, of course, the virtual nodal displacement, right? So I think this is the key, the formulation, finite element formulations, aside from the weak form. So we have weak form and this, and then the next is just algebra, right? Algebra. Okay, we write this as you have seen before, that this is U equal MD, right? And then we use the matrix symbol to make it short. This is delta U, vector delta U, this is shape function matrix, this is delta D, like this. Well, in the expression of the weak form, we have strain, right? Virtual strain. How to obtain the virtual strain? If we know the displacement, you already have assignment, right? In your assignment, what did you do to obtain the strain? Just use the kinematic equation, the strain displacement relationship. So just use epsilon, differential operator of U, right, in matrix notation. Actually, this is kinematic equation, the relation between displacement and strain. Just now, what is U? U is this one, ND. So just insert this into this, insert this into this. Similarly, for virtual strain, we define as the differential operator on the virtual displacement. So just inserting this to this, we're going to get this. Let's give name to this matrix, Dn. The differential operator of the shape function matrix, let's give the name B. And this is a matrix of 3 by 6. Why? Because you know in plane strain and plane stress that we have epsilon is 3 by 1. Because the strain consists of epsilon x, epsilon y, and gamma xy. Similarly for virtual strain. So the differential operator 3 by 2, this is 2 by 6. As you see, this is 2 by 6, right? So the matrix for B is 3 by 6. Okay, 3 by 6. So we can write the strain displacement matrix. Strain displacement matrix using this one. Okay, on BD. Similarly for virtual displacement B delta T. Any question? So from displacement, we turn to strain. Matrix B gives strains, because this is gives strain at any point within the element due to unit values of nodal displacement. So kind of, we call this is strain displacement matrix. Well, the details of the B is this. The differential operator is this, right? The matrix differential operator B, this one, right? Consists of ddx, ddy, and ddy ddx. The shape function matrix is this one. Let's do matrix multiplication. So this is partial n1 to x, and then first row, second column, 0, right? And so on. Okay. So comma, it means this is partial derivative. What I mean comma here is partial derivative. This means partial derivative the shape function to x, okay, and so on. Okay, comma means partial derivative. So this is the B matrix. Well, what's the results? You know, what is N1? N1 is this one, right? Recall, this one. Sorry. When you take a derivative with respect to For example, partial n1, partial x. What did you get? What will you get? This one, right? The determinant of this one. So it's the result is minus 1, 1, y2, y3. And then minus y3 minus y2, or equals to y2 minus y3. Okay? And so on. Okay? So you can calculate its entries in the B matrix. And 1 comma x, and 2 comma x, and so on. And then this is the results. Any questions up to this point? This is the B matrix for plane stress or plane strain problems for the CST element. Okay, here where the name of the element comes. Please notice, what is this? Y2 is a number, right? Because that's the coordinates. Y3 is a number. So this is a constant. You see, all are constants without variables x or y. So because of the constants, what happened to the strain? What happened to the strain? Constants. This is constants. This constant. So that's the name comes. This is the reason why the element is called constant strain triangle, because B all are constant. Or the strain within the element is constants. Okay, the element is called CST, constant strain triangle, because of this. Any question? Okay, before continuing with the slides, I think it's good to have one example from the previous element, right? We have this element before. We have calculated the shape functions. Well, can you calculate the B matrix? B matrix? Yes, it's easy. Just maybe you use this formula directly, or I prefer to use this formula, right? Because it's easier to remember. So just use that formula. Well, the first term is the shape function matrix, the first derivative of the shape function matrix with respect to x. So 1 comma x, but 1 comma x is what? And 1 comma x, shape function matrix, it's minus 1, right? Because the first derivative of n1 with respect to x is minus 1. Okay, very easy. Super easy, right? And then n2 comma x, what's n2 comma x? The shape function, second shape function is x. Of course, 1. Partial derivative is 1. And 3 comma x, comma, it means partial derivative is 0 because this is y. And then we also calculate the derivative respect to y is minus 1 also, right? Because this one, partial derivative of this one, right? Y is minus 1. Partial derivative respect to the second shape function respect to y is 0 because this is x. Partial derivative the third shape function respect to y is 1. Okay, good. So the B matrix is, okay, partial derivative to x only. It means minus 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0 from here, right? And then 0, partial to y is this one, minus 1, then 0. This is always 0, right? 0, then 1. And then this is minus 1, minus 1. This is, I guess, is copy from this. Okay, copy from this, 0, 1, copy from this, 1, 0. Okay, that's all. The B matrix for this element. all constants, all just number without variables. So that's the reason why the element is called CST. Any questions so far? No question? Okay, let's continue. How about the stress? Just recall the constitutive equations, including temperature effect. We have also sigma T, right? The temperature, the stress due to temperature effect. So of course, this is depend on whether the problem plane strain or plane stress. Okay, so B doesn't depend on plane strain, plane stress, but the stress itself is depend on the problem, plane strain or plane stress. Okay, we have this one. Now we are ready to use the principle of vertical displacement after defining all this. Okay, we are ready, right? So this is our weak form. Recall that this is we are our weak form. Now we are ready because we have defined sigma. This one we have defined vertical displacement. Okay, and vertical strain. Okay, let's plug in all the formula to this one. Okay, so in these principles we know that for any small vertical displacement, okay, we imagine that our element is we disturb a little bit, but delta u, but L delta u is in this format. It means, in other words, we actually disturb the nodal displacement. The delta u is following this format. And then let's begin with the left-hand side, this one. Left-hand side of these equations. Okay. What is virtual strain? Is B delta D transpose. What is sigma? Sigma is this one. No problem, right? Can you follow? Can you follow me? This is the left-hand side of the equation. Then I just give the task, the plug-in our discretization to this left-hand side. Okay, the virtual strain energy, this one, this results. Okay, and then this is just separate because the integrals of the sum is equal to sum of the integrals. So I can write like this. Any question up to this point? Up to this? Up to the second line? No problem? No,
not yet, sir.
Easy, right? Okay, easy. Well, for sure delta D is constants. Okay, because it doesn't depend on the position in the coordinate, so we can take it out of integrals, delta D transpose. B, yes, in this problem is constants. We can take out of the integrals, but in general, later I will use this if you learn more finite element other than CST. In general, B may be a function of coordinates. So let's take it inside, don't put outside, okay? Also E, yes, in this problem, constant, but in general may not be constant if the material is not homogeneous. For example, if the material is made from functionally graded materials, okay? So let this inside the integral. Also the thickness. The thickness, yes, in this problem is constant, but we may also consider element a little bit tapered. So let's inside, okay? Let's put inside. So this is the integrals for the element. D for sure can be put out. This is also delta D, B sigma TST. Well, done for the left-hand side. Now let's consider the second term of the right-hand side. The second term, not this is the first term, don't need to worry. How about this? We consider this, okay? Second term, what is delta U? And delta D transpose. N is not constant for sure, but delta D is constant, so we can put it outside, take it outside of the integrals. This is N transpose P, HDS, right? Oh, notice that this is the integration along the side, right? The traction boundary conditions. Gamma t is traction boundary condition, not integration over the area. Okay, so this is a kind of line integrals. ds is line integrals, but dA is area integrals. Lastly, consider the third term, that's due to body force. Okay, body force here, the third term, and then just like this. But the integrals, if the integrals area integrals, this is not area integrals. So delta d, delta u is and delta d just similar with this. Okay. Okay. So collecting all of them together. Okay. So the principal total displacement equations becomes like this. Okay. Any question? I can write. Oh, by the way, I write the right left hand side here. I just put to the right side. Okay, put to the right side for the reason that we know already sigma t. All of this we know already. Okay, but here is unknown. So the part that still have unknowns, I put on the left. All the others I put on the right. Okay. Well. This equation is true for any virtual displacement. In other words, true for any delta d. Okay. So because this equation should be true, should be correct for any delta d, any vector delta d, we can cancel this. Okay. We can cancel this. Therefore, gives us these equations. Okay. Okay. We can strike out to become this equation. Okay. Well. Any question so far? And if you notice carefully, on the right hand side is force, all force, because this is FA. FA plus, of course, this should be force also. This should be force. This should be force. Otherwise, we cannot sum up, right? Force should be add with force. So we can add them together. But this is displacement. A matrix that converting displacement to force, of course, that's stiffness matrix. So we can see that the stiffness matrix is nothing but this one, right? The stiffness matrix for CST. So we can see that the stiffness matrix, element stiffness matrix given by this one. B transpose EBDA H from this one. And this is the applied nodal force as usual, the force that we need to balance the element when we take as a free body. Remember, we have discretized the model into elements, and then we take one element, and then the element may not be in balance, so we need some forces to make it balance. This is balancing force. Okay, at the nodes. This is the force that corresponding to the surface traction. So we call this is equivalent nodal force due to surface traction. While this one is a force that nodal force relating to or corresponding to body force. So this one we define as this one. And lastly, this also equivalent nodal force relating to the temperature effect, right? So this one, okay, minus B transpose sigma t HT. Again, sigma t it depends on the plane strain or plane stress problem. It's different. So we have now the discretized equations. Okay. KD equals FA. FA again is a direct applied force at the nodes to make the element in balance. This is still announced, but later we will perform direct this method, okay, assembly. So this disappear. Okay. This is equivalent force due to traction. This body force this is due to temperature effect. Any questions? So from the weak form, we have this discretized matrix equation, element matrix equation. Okay. Let's go further about stiffness matrix. What the size of the stiffness matrix? Because the element is 6 degrees, because this is have 6 displacement, right? 6 displacement components. This is, of course, will be 6 by 1, okay? And this 6 by 6. We can see this from this, actually. By definitions, in this case, is B transpose E, B, D, DA, right? But what is B? B is, in the case of CST, is constants, right? And E constant, B constant. So we can, actually, we can write like this, the thickness, B transpose E, B integral of the area dA. What's this? This is nothing but the area of the triangular element. Okay, so actually B transpose E, B, H is the thickness times area of the triangular element, or B transpose E, B times the volume of the element. Okay, for CST is very easy. No need integration actually. Okay, so we can write this one as this one. And this can be proved that this is 6 by 6 because, as you know, B is 3 by 6, okay? E is 3 by 3, this is 6 by 3 because transpose, we change this one and this becomes 6 by 6. This is the scalar, right? For the volume, the element. Of course, E is different for the different formula for plane stress and plane strain conditions, okay? As you learned from constitutive equation before. Any questions so far? Well, if no questions, let's, for example, the previous element. Okay, how to calculate the stiffness matrix for this element? Calculate the stiffness matrix for this element. Suppose that the modulus of plasticity is E and the Poisson ratio is 0.25. Well, let's do it if this represent plane stress, and let's do it if this represent plane strain model. In this, because we have already B, right? Okay. Stiffness matrix is, for that element is what? B transpose E, B. Area, thickness. We don't know we don't have information regarding the thickness of this element. Let's say just H, right? H the thickness. That's invariable. The area is what? 1/2, right? 1/2. So just 1/2 H, half H, B transpose E, B. We already know B because that's B, right? Only contain 0 and 1 and -1. But we should calculate E, matrix E. That's depend on the situation, whether plane stress or plane. Let's begin if that's plane stress. And then if the plane stress, the elasticity matrix is E 1 minus nu square. The nu is 0.25, right? Is this correct? 1, 0.25, 0.25 nu 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1/2. One minus 0 to 25. Is this correct? Can you remember? Okay, I don't remember actually, but we can see the previous slides. Oh, this one, okay, for plane stress. 1/2, 1 minus nu. That's correct, right? This correct. 1/2, 1 minus nu. So, this is matrix, this is scalar, right? This is, I use double line, it means matrix. E 1 minus, maybe this is 1 minus, this is a quarter, 1/16, 1, 0.235, 0, 0.25, 1, 0, 0, 0. This is 0.75. Okay, and so on. Okay. And then the stiffness matrix, you can calculate like this. So the stiffness matrix is what? 1/2 thickness. 1/2 thickness. And then this I can put here. E. This is 15/16, right? And then B transpose. B transpose is 6/3. 6/3 minus 101. Minus 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, right? Rows become columns, right? Transpose, right? So the first row become columns. The second rows become 0 minus 1, 0 minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, that's the second rows. The last row, minus 1, minus 1, 0. Minus 1, minus 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. Is this correct? Yes, that's transpose, and then times this one. 1. And then times B. This is B matrix, right? Okay. You can just use MATLAB and then you can find the results. 6x6 matrix. Okay. Any questions? Of course, multiplying this is if manual is long time, right? Better use MATLAB. That's the stiffness matrix if plane stress. How about plane strain? What's the change if this is plane strain problem? The only change is not B but E matrix, right? E matrix should be following these constitutive equations. Where's the slide for constitutive equations? Let me see. I don't remember. It's not that one. Here. E1 plus nu. Okay, let's go. E1 plus nu times 1 minus 2 nu, right? 1 minus 2 nu. 2 nu is 0.5. And then 1 minus nu is 0.75. Nu. 1 minus nu is, this is 7.5. 0.75. This is 2.5. 2.5. Okay. 0, 0, 0, 0. And then this is 1/2. 1 minus what? 2 nu. So this is this one, right? Okay, just replace this one with that one for plane strain problem. So that's how to answer this question, the stiffness matrix. Any questions? Is it difficult? Easy, right? Easy. Not difficult. Just matrix multiplication. No integration. No integrals. Because this is the benefit of the CST, we don't need to perform integration to calculate the stiffness matrix. Other elements we need to integrate, perform integral computation. Well, the second question, suppose that this element subjected to body force with this component. So this is the component. So we have body force. Actually, maybe like this, okay? Body force vector, where the component is dx is 1 and 0. And then calculate the equivalent nodal force due to body force. It means we are asked to calculate this one, right? The formula is given by this one, okay? How to perform the computation for this element? Can anyone do this? Let's do it again in Paintbrush, okay? So now equivalent nodal force due to that one. So the equivalent nodal body force is given by the integrals over the element domain and transpose shape function matrix B D HDA, right? HDH according to this formula. HDA. Okay. The thickness is constant. Well, the shape functions. I can take out the thickness and then the integrals over the element. What is N transpose? N transpose is okay, N3, N1, N2, 0, N3. So that's N transpose, no problem. We know N1, N2, N3 for this element, right? Easy, right? What is B? B is given, just B is, what is B in this problem? This problem, B is 1, 0, right? Yes, 1, 0, right? This one, 1, 0. So it's very easy. dA. So let's do matrix calculation, matrix multiplication, I mean. Thickness, integral over the element, and then this is 2 by 6. This is, no, this is 6 by 2, right? 6 by 2 matrix, 6. This is 2 by 1. So the result will be 6 by 1 cos, okay? So this is N1, 0, just N1. The second one is 0, right? The third one is N2, correct? 0, N3, 0. Agree? dA. No problem. So integrals of shape function dA. So we should calculate the integrals over the area shape function dA. But what is shape function in this problem? For that element is 1 minus x minus y, right? dA. How to calculate this? Anyone knows? For this, the element, again, I draw again here. This is the element, right? 0, 1, 1. Anyone knows how to calculate the area integrals? This is x. This is just calculus, right? We calculate this function over this area. So use double integrals, for example. Okay. Use iterative integrals. This is 1 x y. We may begin with dy dx. Okay. We see that the integral inside is dy. It means x constant at a particular x here, right? At particular x. Let me use red. At particular x here. So because this is inside is respect to y. So y is goes from, we see that this is y from 0, right? This is y 0. This is y equal, well, this is a line equation, y equal x. So it means the integrals, the limits of the integrals, it goes from 0 to x. Correct? Oh, no. This is not y equal x, but y equals to, sorry. Wrong. What's the line equation for this one? Is 1
minus x.
Yes, sorry. 1 minus x. So the integral should be goes from one minus x. How about y? Dx. Dx, of course, we see that this line is from 0 to 1. 0 to 1. So we have to perform this integrals. Let's do it. Begin from inside, right? This is with respect to y. So this is y minus xy minus 1/2 y squared. We evaluate y from 0 to y minus x dx, okay? And then the result is 0 to, this is y minus x minus x, y minus, 1 minus x minus 1/2 1 minus x squared, right? Dx. Okay, you can simplify. What? This is 1 minus x, but minus x plus x squared, right? Minus 1/2 1 minus 2x plus x squared dx. Let's continue. Let's simplify. 1 minus 1/2 becomes what? 1/2. This is minus 2x. This is plus x, correct? Because this is plus x. Minus 2x plus x, so minus x. Please tell me if I do something wrong. X squared minus 1/2 of x squared. So should be plus 1/2 x squared, right? Correct? Anyone can find mistake? It's easy calculus, right? Actually, easy calculus, this one. But don't make mistake. One half x integral, sorry. No. I should not write this one again. Okay. Just write this one, right? 1/2 x minus 1/2 x squared plus 1/6 x cubed. 0, 1. So the result is 1/2 minus 1/2 plus 1/6 equal 1/6. Okay, done for this one, right? So this is 1/6. And then we also calculate the second one. Let me write here. We can calculate also for the second one, and 2 dA. And believe me, the result also 1/6, okay? 1/6. And also we can calculate the third one. And will give me the result also 1, 6. Actually, this is X, right? This is Y, right? So the results, the equivalent nodal force is H 160, right? Okay, that's all. The equivalent body force, this is FP. Okay. What does it mean physically? Physically, we have this element, we have body force, right? 1 here, 1. And then during the finite element computation, this body force is transformed into equivalent nodal force. It means transform to at the nodes 1, 6, 1, 6, 1, 6. Here 1, 6 because this is at node 1, right? This is at node 1. This is at node 2. This is at node 3. 1, 6. And sorry, not vertical actually because this is in X direction, right? Sorry. Actually, this is not in this one. Sorry, this is incorrect. This is in this direction because so. Okay, let me change, not in this direction, but actually in this direction because I just remember that's X direction, right? 1 here, it means during computation that it becomes 1, 6, 1, 6, and then 1, 6. Okay, that's the meaning of this one, 1, 6H. But what's this? This is actually, if you calculate, this is the total force because this is the force per unit volume times the volume. What's the volume? What's the area? Area is 1/2 H, right? 1/2 H, the area. So actually, this 1/2 H is distributed equally to the nodes. You divide by 3, 1, 6, 1, 6, 1, 6. So in other words, if we have a constant body force, like in this problem, it's divided equally to the nodes. That's the lesson that we learn from here. Any question? So we learn how to calculate the stiffness matrix, another body force, but we not yet discuss about how to calculate the traction force, right? The traction force, external traction force. Before that, I think it's good idea to introduce you to the concept of area coordinates before learning how to compute the external force due to traction force. Well, in the previous formulation, we work with Cartesian coordinates. Cartesian coordinates is not the only coordinates available for formulating the CST element. Because using Cartesian coordinates, we see that the shape functions are quite a little bit complex, right? Quite complex. And if we need integration for calculating the body force, like we did in this example, it's quite cumbersome. Okay, quite cumbersome. To simplify the shape function and integration, we may use what's so-called area coordinates. Okay, I will introduce now the area coordinates. Well, let's take a look at these triangles. For example, this is a triangular element. If we have a point inside the element, the point actually divides the triangles into 3 sub-areas. Okay, A1, the A1 is in front of node 1. And this is called side 1. The side in front of node 1. This is in front of node 2. And this is in front of node 3. This is area 2, area 3. So it divides into A1, A2, A3, right? Well, what is area coordinates? Area coordinates are defined as the ratios of the area. Okay, so A1 total with respect to total area. Let's give the name C1 for this ratio. Okay, and the second ratio let's give C2, and the third ratio C3. So in other words, we can specify the position of P using these three numbers. Actually, coordinates is a matter of how to specify the position with numbers, right? Why do people use Cartesian coordinates? Because they want to specify the position using numbers, two numbers. But here, using area coordinates, we have three numbers to specify a position. For example, here, using area coordinates, for example, this point. Oh, no. That point. This point, I mean. What's the coordinate of this point using area coordinates? Well, we may also see that if I put P here, what will be A1? I move the point P here. What will be A1? A1 will be equal to the area, right? So C, in other words, this one will be 1 and other 0, right? So this is the point where C1 is 1, but C2 is 0, C3 is 0. So this is the coordinate of this point. How about the coordinate of a point on side 1? Let's say this one. How about C1 there? We can imagine that if I move the P to there, what's the area of A1? Become 0, right? So this is become 0. So this is actually the line where C1 is 0. So a kind of indication that that's the point with the farthest position from 1. So that's 0. While if the at node 1 is 1. Similarly for this one. If at node 2, C2 is 1, other 0. This is the farthest point from node 2. So this is C2 equals to 0, right? And also for node 3, this is 1 and this is 0. Using this coordinate system. How about this one? Well, between 1 and side 1, this is C1 is 1, this is C1 is 0, right? So we can just draw a parallel line to the side 1, and then, well, this is 1/2, right? If we see that this is 1/2, halfway. So this is the lines where C1 is 1/2. So this point have the coordinate C1 is 1/2. How about C2? C2, we look here. We draw the parallel line to this one. And we see that this is divided, this is C2 1, but this is C2 maybe a quarter, right? A quarter. This is 3/4. So this is 1/4. How about C3? C3 is, we look at the side 3. Side 3 is where this is not 1, 2, 3. This is 3, 1, but this is the line where C3 is 0. So this is, if draw the lines parallel to this one, this is 1/2. This is, of course, 1/4. So the coordinate of this point is described by, for example, okay, example, P have the coordinate using area coordinate is 1/2, 1/4, 1/4. Okay, so this is area coordinates. Okay, as you can see that the area coordinate we can express in terms of the distance from the side. Okay, the reason is like this. Okay, look at the area of side, this area, A1. And let the length of the side 1, Yes, the length of the side 1 is, let's say this is L1, right? The length of the side 1. What's the area of the side A1? If this is S1, the area is what? 1/2 L1 S1, correct? And the area of the triangles, if this is S1 is means the height of the triangles from side 1, or the distance from the north 1 to side 1. So this is 1/2 L1 S1, right? So the ratio of the area is this one. Okay, the ratio of the area. This one is we can cancel. This we can cancel. So S1. So that's why the area coordinates we can also see as the distance from the side. Okay, this is from 0 here and then to north 1. This is 1, 1, and then 0 here. Okay. Well, the problem is, we know if we use Cartesian coordinates, we only need 2 numbers. But here 3 numbers. It's a kind of contradiction, right? But don't worry, because these 3 numbers actually is not independent. What I mean not independent is, given 2 numbers, you can specify the third number. So you cannot choose freely the third number. For example, I give, this is 1/2, this is 1/4. This should be 1/4. Why? Because the summation of all these should be 1. Why should be 1? It can be easily see from here, because the summation of the C1, C2, C3 is what? Area 1 plus area 2 plus area 3 sub area 3 divided by area. But all of this is equal A, so it should be 1. Okay. So even though they are 3, but they are not independent each other, because they are related to one rule that the summation of them should be 1. Okay. Well, another aspect of the area coordinates, how to connect the 2 coordinate system. We have area coordinate system, we have Cartesian coordinate system. The connection is given by this formula, okay, or the transformation. So if we know the nodal coordinates, this is x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, and we know the position of the point, and then we want to calculate the Cartesian coordinate, just use this formula, okay? For example, the previous triangles, right? Our simple triangles, this one. This is 0, 1, 1. Please calculate the position of the centroid here. If the centroid in the area coordinates is given by, the center is given by 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay, this is the centroid in area coordinates. So if we want to calculate the Cartesian coordinates, use this formula. X, Y equals what? All 1/3. X1 is 0. X2 is 1. X3 is 0. So it's 1/3. Correct, right? 1/3. 1/3 or 1/3. How about Y? 1/3. Because all are the same, 1/3. Okay, that the centroid. Y1, Y2, Y3. Y1 is 0. This is 0. This is 1. And this is correct. According to Cartesian coordinate, also 1/3. Okay, so that's to convert from area to Cartesian coordinates. Any question? This is a very brief introduction about another system coordinate called area system coordinate. Well, if no question, before we express the shape functions in terms of Cartesian coordinates, and it's a little bit complex. But using area coordinates, you see that the shape functions we can express as just this one. So the shape function is just area coordinate, first area coordinate. The second is second area coordinates. So very easy to remember, right? Using area coordinates. Okay. Why can I write like this? Anyone can give answers? Can anyone give answers? Because of the same properties. Remember the shape functions 1 and 0? Okay, let me explain. If we have an element, and then we have shape function, this is 1 and this is 0, right? Or n1, right? This is shape functions. How about C1? C1 is we define from the position of a point P, right? And then the distance. We see before that, this is the line where C1 is what? 0. And then this is the exactly the point where C1 is 1. Oh, the same properties, right? And linear. So that's exactly the same as a function. The area coordinate is the same as a function. Okay? For CST. Of course, not for other elements. For quadratic, it's not the same. Okay? This is beautiful, right? We can express the function very easily using area coordinates. Another aspect of the area coordinates, for example, if we have a triangular element, let's say this is 1, 2, and 3. This is side 2, 3. Okay, I draw here side 2, 3. So this is side 2, 3. This is the sides where C1 is equal to 0. Okay, side where the C1 equal to 0, right? For example, in this side, we have a surface traction force because this is we consider an element that connected to the boundary, right? The element on the boundary that have sides on the boundary of the body. So suppose we have some traction force here. Let's say like this. This is surface traction, okay? Surface traction vector consists of y direction and x and y direction. And then I draw in here. Let's say the values of the traction here is T2 given, right? Given. For example, maybe 5 kilonewton per square meter here. Maybe is given at 3, for example, 10 kilonewton per square meter. Or any unit, maybe kilonewton per meter, depend on the whether you have multiplied with the thickness or not, okay? Any unit, I mean force per unit length or per unit area. Given, so this is given numbers, okay? Well, if I want to express the distribution of the surface traction using area coordinates, this is the formula, okay? So this is the linear distribution of the this is a kind of line equations, okay? Line equation used in terms of area coordinates. Because C1 is 0, of course, the only left is C2 and C3. So a function of C2 and C3, okay? Okay, any questions? So a line, if we know this value can be expressed in terms of the area coordinate like this. Well, next, how about quadratic? Okay, the same as the side. And this is an example of the side 2, 3. We have a distributed quadratic distributed traction force. Okay, where the values is given at node 2, T2, at node 3, T3, at the middle, M, at the middle is Tm. The formula for expressing this curve or this quadratic function is given by this one, okay? T2, C2 to C2 minus 1, T3, C3 to C3 minus 1, and Tm, C2, C3. Not so nice, right? This is nice, simple, easy to remember. This is maybe not so nice. This is quadratic function. So we can express the quadratic function use this formula, okay? Attraction distribution. Why do I choose the area coordinates? Because if we using area coordinates, we have a formula already. Formula to calculate the integrals. If we need to calculate where the area integrals or line integrals here. Here is the formula for line integrals. So if we want to integrate this function, okay, we may use just this formula. So C2, C3, this is C2, C3, function of C2, C3 to the power of what? Power of K and L, integrate over the line, ds, line 2, 3, we integrate over this line, for example, line 2, 3. The formula is given by, this is L, L2, 3 is the length of the side 2, 3, okay, or side 1, side 2, 3, or side 1, K factorial, L factorial over 1 plus K plus L factorial. Later I will give example to explain about this. And also we have a formula for integration of area. This is line for calculating the equivalent force due to traction, for example. This is for calculating the equivalent force due to body force or due to temperature distribution, because you see here, if we have temperature distribution, get over the area if this is function of coordinates in terms of xy or in terms of area coordinates, okay? So we can use this formula. It's the area coordinates, KLM is the power. So this is C1 raised to power K, raised to power L, raised to power M. This is the formula, okay? So we have ready formula, ready to use formula. This is 2 times the area. For example, I mentioned before that if we have a uniformly distributed body force, it means body force is constant. And then always, not only for the previous examples, but also for any triangular, the body force will be distributed equally to the nodes. It means just divided by 3. The total force divided by 3. Please prove this, okay? This is the first application of the area coordinates.